If you have a toddler, do not listen to the story alone. This is probably the creepiest Llorona story time that I have ever heard. The person who submitted this does not want anyone knowing that this happened to their family, so let's call them Elena and Luis. Elena and Luis had just bought their first home located in Española, New Mexico. It was like a 1950s style of a home with like old wooden floors, a huge wraparound porch, and a ginormous yard overlooking a river. When they first got there, they were super excited, unpacking all of their boxes and setting up their 3-year-old daughter's bedroom, who we're gonna call Lucy. Everything was perfectly fine the first couple nights until about the third night. Elena and Luis happened to wake up at exactly 2 a.m. for absolutely no reason. They just like get up and they have like this dreadful, awful feeling. Then out of nowhere, they start to hear what sounds like the cries of a woman coming from like a distance. At first, they're trying to tell themselves that maybe it's just some sort of animal that's crying, making the noise, until they both clearly hear the words, "Ay, mis hijos." They're completely paralyzed. They know all about La Llorona, and the first thought in their head is that they need to go get their daughter. So they run into their daughter's room, get her in bed with them, and they start to pray. They continue to pray until finally the cries of this woman goes away. The next morning, they try to convince themselves that maybe they just imagined the whole thing. They're just like so exhausted because they've been unpacking and they've been doing so much, and they try to kind of just shrug it off. The next couple nights, nothing happens, which really confirms the fact that they must have just imagined the whole thing, until about a week later, Elena and Luis happen to wake up once again with the same dreadful feeling, and then they start to hear the words, "Ay, mis hijos," but the only difference is that this time it sounds like it's coming literally from right outside their back door. Terrified, they try to get up to go grab their daughter, but neither Elena or Luis can move. Like, they're both completely paralyzed. They're fully aware of what's going on, but they can't react. Thankfully, Elena's grandmother had spent the night that night. She was helping them with the last couple of things of them like decorating and getting the house together. She had fallen asleep on the couch. She also heard La Llorona. Before she even has a chance to like react, she hears footsteps coming from the hallway, and she hears the back door open. She quickly jumps up and runs towards the back door and sees little Lucy, little 3-year-old Lucy, headed outside towards where La Llorona was screaming. Grandma runs out there, grabs Lucy, but not before looking over, and literally she got a really good look at La Llorona. This is kind of like how she kind of described what she looked like. La Llorona's just standing there. She grabs the little girl and runs inside and slams the door. The minute she runs inside and slams the door, Elena and Luis are snapped out of being paralyzed. It's almost like whatever was keeping them paralyzed like breaks. They all kind of gather together and start to pray, and eventually La Llorona does kind of move on. But this was like way too much for them. Not long after, they decided to put the house up for sale again and move, which was a huge loss for them. So have you ever encountered La Llorona? Just know that if you're ever happen to be in the Española, New Mexico, I think that's what it's called, that Llorona's out there.